going to talk about how to preserve or keep our herbs and different vegetables fresh when we get them from the grocery store. So we have fresh cilantro right out of the bag. Keep your bag though that you have had, your plastic bag. You can always fill a jar with water like I have, a glass, a bowl, anything like that. Simply take your herbs. Now if they're a little bit brown on the edges, you can go ahead and clip them off with a knife or with your kitchen shears. Don't use this kitchen shear, don't use the shears that have been used out in the shop, and hide these from your husband. Put these down in water. Now a lot of people make a mistake by putting their herbs, now this is cilantro, you can use fresh parsley, your basil, anything like that you can use to do the same way. So don't put it in the refrigerator. A lot of people make that mistake because then it becomes slimy. You take that bag, cover it like a hairnet. I always tuck it underneath the jar, and you simply leave it on the countertop and it will stay nice and fresh. And then you can use it for all of your recipes. Have you ever bought your broccoli at the grocery store and it seems a little rubbery? So you want to get it nice and crisp. Very simple to do. Now this head has already been trimmed pretty small when I picked it up at the grocery store, but just make sure that the edge is always open. So trim it off, get you a bowl, a jar, something like that, and just put your broccoli down in it so that the stem absorbs that water. It will make it nice and crisp. Now, if you are having a party and you're breaking your broccoli up into those bite-sized pieces that we all like with dips, if you want to do this ahead of time, just simply put your bite-sized pieces of broccoli, cauliflower, your carrots, your zucchini, your cucumbers, slice them all up in individual Ziploc bags, add some ice cubes to them or water, zip them up, keep them in the refrigerator or the cooler, and they'll stay nice and fresh for the time when you have to put them out for a party. Okay, let's talk about asparagus. You always want to keep your asparagus nice and crisp. And sometimes at the grocery store, they have it stored in a little bit of water, which is great. You need to store it in water at home also. So make sure that those ends are trimmed just a little bit so that they're not sealed up and they will absorb water. You can go ahead and remove these nice large rubber bands. Get you a glass, jar, anything like that, and put your asparagus down into that water and place it in the refrigerator. And it will absorb that water and stay nice and fresh. Now, when you are ready to use your asparagus, as we all know, to break it, you want to take the rubbery, quote, quote, rubbery ends off. You break it like this. The bottom part is the rubbery part. You discard that. This is the part that you would use for your salads, baking, grilling, anything like that. And you can go ahead and cut it up. Now, a lot of people say, oh, you're wasting something, these ends. Take the ends then and make a stock with them for your soups and stuff like that. Then you're not wasting them. Celery. When you buy a bundle of celery, it seems like we have a huge amount. We only use a couple of stalks. And then what do we do with this to keep it fresh? Well, always remember to wash your celery very good and trim the ends. And if it has the leaves, use the leaves. There's a lot of there's a lot of vitamins in those leaves, and they're not going to hurt anything. So your remainder of your celery, what you can do to store it is take a piece of aluminum foil and wrap it in foil and place it in the bottom drawer of your dehydrator, and it will help to keep your celery nice and crisp. Don't ask me why it works that way. It just does. It's one of those things. when using your cilantro for a recipe, after you pull it out of your jar here of water, and yes, they like each other, and so they're all tangled up, and that's okay. A lot of people will use the leaves and the stems. Well, you don't want to use the stems. So go ahead and you can either pinch off your leaves or a little bit quicker. I always have kitchen shears, so I will snip them off real easy this way. The stems is where you have a bitter taste in the cilantro. Take your scissors and just use them like this to chop up that cilantro. You can do fresh parsley, the flat-leafed Italian parsley, or the curly parsley the same way. It just makes it a little bit easier to use that and to get it chopped up for your recipes. Okay, let's talk mushrooms. If you ever buy your mushrooms, a lot of people make the mistake of washing a mushroom. A mushroom is just like a sponge, so when you wash it, it's going to absorb that water. Think about it in a recipe. When you add it in a recipe, it's absorbing the liquid and the flavors of that recipe. That's the beauty of mushrooms. So to clean a mushroom, get a mushroom brush. They sell them. They're real soft little bristles. A soft bristled toothbrush will work the same. And just brush off that dirt. Very easy to do. And you're done cleaning your mushrooms. Now, if you are going to use them in a recipe, pop the stem out. It's easy to do. Like that. You can still cut this part up and use it, or if you have your cap, that is really easy to just slice up. Okay, green beans. They've all come out of the garden this summer. We all love them. There's a lot of different varieties of your green beans, but this is a great kid thing to get the grandkids or the kids involved, is snapping your beans and snapping the ends off. Easy to do. If you want to do it a little bit faster, of course you can always use the knife and cut the ends off. But why not have that time outside snapping them? And if you have a string bean, then of course it's going to, as you snap, you would string down the side and take the string off of it. But these are not string beans, so that's why it's easier just to snap them. And they're ready to go. Let's talk tomatoes. Beautiful tomatoes out of the garden. Indiana's known for their tomatoes. This is just what we would call a regular, maybe beefsteak tomato. There's a lot of different varieties, but it's very large. Great for those hamburgers, just a big slice. This one with a little bit of a different color is called an heirloom. So that one has, they've taken the traits and the varieties of several different tomatoes to put them together in a seed of whether we like a juicy tomato, one that's more meaty, the color of it. As you can tell, it's a little bit darker, so maybe it has a cross between the purple tomato, that is also an heirloom, and a red tomato, and a little bit more green. So to slice a tomato, a lot of people will make the mistake of trying to use a regular edged knife. Well, that's going to tear your tomato. So you want to use a serrated knife, the one that has the wavy edges to it, that you don't know what to use for in your kitchen. Really easy to do. Take and in a sawing motion, just cut your tomato this way. You can continue to slice your tomato in however thick or thin slices, but again, using the sawing motion. You can't get a sawing motion with, or you can get a sawing motion, but you don't get a good slice when you try to use a regular flat blade on a knife. But you can tell that this tomato is very juicy tomato. There's a lot of meat in it, very, very pretty. Now another way to slice a tomato, if you want even slices, is to take a gadget like this that's used a lot. I use it a lot in my kitchen. Just pierce your tomato and go down the sides of it. And go in the middle of the tines there. And it will slice your tomato, however thick or big you want it. And there you have your slices. Now to go ahead and cut your tomato into some smaller pieces. Again, you can pierce it so you're not chasing it all over the cutting mat. And slice. Turn, and then I just hold the rest. And easy, you have those small pieces to go into your tacos, your nachos, your salsa. Here's your tomatoes. Okay, onions are one of my favorite things to teach about and or use in my cooking. This is referred to as a sweet onion, a Vidalia onion that we get this time of year. Our onions in the summertime are milder flavor and sweeter flavor. In the wintertime, what has happened is the onions have been stored in large warehouses in refrigeration, and they tend to get stronger. And that's why our onions that we have in dishes are a lot stronger in the summertime. In the wintertime. Now, to cut an onion, there are a lot of people don't like to do this because they will cry. But a little hint is if you will leave the root end intact the whole time that you are cutting this, that is where the sulfites are that release usually and make you cry. So this is the top end. I always just trim it off, partial way, and then I can peel the paper outside, lining out, covering, because we don't want this part. Normally I say use everything on the outside of a vegetable because that's where the vitamins and minerals are. But in an onion, the paper covering we don't want. Really easy to just go ahead and peel this off. If it's a little bit cantankerous, take your knife and slice it off. Okay, so now to chop an onion, I'm going to make one cut through that root end now, but I'm going to work fast. Now I lay the halves down and go from the cut end. I'm going to make slices, not all the way through, almost to that root. Kind of following the veins there. Then I'm going to cut planks using a sawing motion. And I usually do 2. If it's a very large onion, I'll do 3. Now take and slice down, and you have your chopped onion. Root end still there, discard it, and I haven't lost a tear. Now onions will tend to get in your pores of your hands, and I'll even sometimes smell them the next day when I'm washing my hair in the morning, or they just tend to stay in the pores of your hands. But if you will use a piece of stainless steel, this is just another gadget, or if you have a stainless steel sink, rub your hands on that when you're washing them, even your knife, and that will help to take those odors out of your pores of your hands. Okay, let's talk jalapenos and peppers. If you notice I have gloves on, the jalapenos will burn you. The seeds and the veins are where the hotness are and will get into your pores of your hands and burn you. So always wear gloves. Little hint, very, very easy to do. So once you've picked your jalapenos and brought them in, rinse them and then use a little small knife, cut it at the end, cut your stem end off. Then if you're going to use stuffed jalapeno poppers, you can always take an end, this has little ridges in it, and just dig it out. Dig out those veins in the center part. And then your jalapeno will be ready to stuff with your cheese or whatever you want to make poppers with. Rinse it out in the water, and it's easy to stuff. Now, I always do these for a party, but I do them the day before, and I don't want them to get soggy and mushy. So at this point, I put them into a container of water in the refrigerator. They will stay nice and crisp. Pull them out, drain the water all out of them, go ahead and stuff them, and then they're ready to go on the grill or in the oven. Now, if you're going to chop a jalapeno, again, cut the end off. You want to cut it in half from the top to the bottom, and then remove those seeds. Again, you can use a knife to remove them, or I like to use my handy little gadget here. And it just takes them right out very fast. Or half. You can go ahead and continue to chop. Again, if you want the halves, or you can chop this way. Put your rings or your half moons together and chop very small. Now, around our house, we tend to leave the seeds and the veins in because we like things really spicy. There's your jalapenos. To mince your garlic is you do need to remove the peeling on it. So through the tube, do this one of two ways. Roll it. Oh, look, we had several family members in that one pod that we didn't know about. It's taken the peeling off. Take a garlic press. Put your cloves down in here. Make sure your stopper is down. And it presses our garlic out even smaller for us. And here was just a little bit of the skin left, so it pressed it through the skin. Once again, the clove in there. Press it. And there's our skin, right there. Well, it looks like to me we have the perfect ingredients to have some fresh pico de gallo that we can throw together really easy. So we have our onions that we chopped earlier. Let's just go ahead and add the onions to our bowl. We have the chopped tomatoes that we had earlier. And now we need to add our jalapeno. We're going to chop a little bit more. Let's give it some more kick here. And add this in. We have our garlic. And what else? But we need cilantro. So I'm just going to use my quick shears here. Take our leaves, like we talked about. Make sure there are no stems. We'll take our kitchen shears and just chop that up. Usually in pico, your cilantro is a little bit bigger. It's not so fine. Add this, little stir, and that quick and easy, we have our pico de gallo, fresh from the garden, all of our ingredients. Indiana is known for growing basically 3 kinds of corn. Of course, the sweet corn that we all like to eat. Then we have these fields and fields of corn that people see that are really tall usually. And that is what we call our field corn. It's hot, it's harder grains, kernels. And we use this to feed livestock and in many products that we purchase. But a lot of people will go into other people's fields and pick this field corn thinking they're getting sweet corn and take it home. It's very different, it's a lot harder. It has a bigger kernel, as you can tell, than the sweet corn. The third kind of corn that we have in Indiana is popcorn. Remember Orville Redenbacher? There's a lot of popcorn grown up in the northern part of Indiana. And that's what these kernels are. As you can tell, smaller, a lot smaller. We usually nowadays don't see a lot of popcorn in a bag, so to speak, like when I grew up, because we have the easiness of popping it in the microwave, so it already comes in a bag, and we never see those kernels. But we do have 3 kinds in Indiana of corn: popcorn, field corn, and sweet corn. Sweet corn, as we all know, you never know what's in the package. When you open it up, it's a big surprise. So as we shuck the corn, a lot of places, grocery stores, the farmers markets will let you shuck it before you get it. Here, to me, we have a perfect ear of corn. It's not, it's filled out to the complete end. Now this one was not. It's okay to eat it. You can cook it this way, or if it bothers you, just go ahead and use a knife and cut that end off, and you can still cook it. Okay, we have some of this great Indiana sweet corn we have just picked out of our garden. One easy way that Dale and I like to eat our sweet corn, and he's the one that taught me this, is taking the corn, husk and all. He just brought this in from the field, and he's going to pop it in the microwave. Now Dale, how long do you cook this in the microwave?
3 minutes.
3 minutes for an ear of corn. So he's going to put that on.
For a medium-sized ear, about 3 minutes. If it's a little big ear, a little more. If your microwave is not a full powered one, you may have to have a few more time on it too. You have to kind of play with it.
Right. So once this comes out of the microwave, we will shuck it and we'll cool it down and shuck it. And then it's ready to eat. So this is how we like our sweet corn, because we're going to eat it pretty much right out of the field this way. Okay, the microwave has ended, so the corn is ready, we hope. So Dale's going to open up the microwave, get his corn out. Now if you'll notice, he's wearing gloves, different things like that to help keep his hands, because that corn is hot. So get some cold water going and run the cold water over your corn, your corn. It basically has steamed that corn inside, and now he will begin to peel it off, shuck it. Excuse me, not peel it. You don't peel corn, you shuck corn. And you can see, or right here, I can see the steam coming out of this, even with the cold water hitting it. It's easy to remove the silks when it's running under that cold water. You can pop off the end. Your corn is still hot.
It's still hot. It took out the cob.
It remains really, really hot inside your corn. Dale's ready to eat his
We need to
corn.
wipe the water off.
Oh, he tells me we have to wipe the water off. Now we're going to wipe the water off. We wouldn't want soggy corn. Dale says he wants to eat this. So we're taking a little bit of butter. Who cares if your hands get wet or greasy? It's summertime in Indiana with your sweet corn. Hold this. Here's your, and you want your, and he always likes fresh pepper on his. Okay, get that going. Here you go. Have a bite.
Good.
Indiana sweet corn. And that's it. That's an easy way to cook your corn. We've even cooked 3 to 4 ears at a time in the microwave, so it's very simple to do. Okay, let's talk chicken. I love to use my Instapot, and it's a very quick and easy way to cook your chicken very, very tender. I want to brown or saute my chicken first before we put it into the Instapot to cook. So just on the front of your Instapot, this one in particular has a saute button, and I'm going to let the bottom heat up in the pot. So I have the insert in here. See, it's telling me that, be careful. I'm adding just a little bit of oil. You can use, I'm using olive oil. You can use coconut oil, whatever, vegetable oil, whichever you choose. Not very much. Don't put very much down in there. I want to season my chicken, so I'm using some seasoning salt. Well, it's gotten a little stuck in there. There we go. Just a little bit of seasoning, give it some flavor. And a little bit of pepper. I can tell this is heating up very fast. We're just going to go ahead and lay the seasoned side down to brown for just a second, or not even brown, just to sear those juices and the seasonings inside there. Usually about 4 chicken breasts will fit in the bottom of this Instapot. Every one of them is different. So you want to let that sear for just a few minutes, and then we'll pull them back out. Now we want to cook our chicken completely. A little tip that I do, in the bottom of the Instapot, I'm leaving the little bit of grease and the little bits of pieces. You can use chicken broth, you can use water if you so choose. I like to use a little bit of pineapple juice. And I just add this to the bottom, half a cup to a cup. You take the rack that comes with your Instapot and place it down in here, making sure it's open. And then place the chicken back up on the rack. The liquid is underneath the rack, so it's going to essentially steam that, and you'll have some wonderful flavors in there. Your chicken broth will do the same, but I highly recommend using the low sodium chicken broth, or just don't salt your chicken as much. We want to take the lid and then twist on, making sure the steam is to the back. And then we're going to set this for about 10 minutes to cook. We'll cook things very fast. I love it to cook a lot of rice super fast in just like 5 minutes, and it's perfect. But you can do soups, stews, a lot of different things. It's very, very versatile. Okay, it seems like our pressure is out. I always make sure to turn things off here So I will hit the cancel button and I go ahead and unplug it just for safety. We twist our lid. It comes off really easy. We remove the chicken. Look at that. Perfect. Now you can, it's ready to eat, to add to things, or if you're one of these that likes to prepare your meals for the week, now it's ready to, once it cools just a little bit, to go ahead and put in the refrigerator or add it to another dish, to your salads or anything like that. What I like to do is shred my chicken. Some people will take and use 2 forks to shred chicken or pork or anything like that. But I like to do it in my mixer. So I take the chicken and I like to do it in halves. Now you can see as I've cut it that the chicken is perfectly done here. And I'm going to cut it into a couple of pieces, each half, and add it to my bowl. My beater's in. Goodness, totally. And I just run the beaters in the mixer and it shreds the chicken here for me. There's perfectly shredded chicken. See, this is great to add with a salad, or if you just prefer to eat shredded chicken. Really easy.
We're going to talk about density today. Density, you say? What is density? It's the mass of an object in relative to its volume. I bet you don't remember that from your science days. Well, we're going to test that using oranges. Now, oranges are not grown in Indiana, but it's a great way to show you what density does. We're going to take a clear bowl and fill it with water. I'm just using regular tap water today. That looks good enough for our oranges to take a swim. If I put these oranges in a bowl, what do you think they're going to do? Sink or swim? Let's find out. Wow, they're floating. That is so cool. Now, I'm thinking, how do we make them sink? Well, let's test that. Let's take an orange out and peel it. I have my handy dandy Tupperware peeler. One of those great giveaways from the early days of my marriage and Tupperware parties. Oh, smell the fragrance of that orange as it squirts. Oh, it's delicious. Oranges are grown in California, primarily, and we ship a lot in from Mexico. Okay, I have our orange peeled, and we're going to put it back in the water. Let's see what happens. Oh my gosh, our orange sank. What caused that? Well, this orange rind is filled with tiny air pockets, and that gives it buoyancy. So we remove the rind, it increases the density of the orange. This orange will float because of the air pockets. Isn't that a fun concept to learn about density of an orange? Have you ever seen corn pop? Well, of course you have. We've all enjoyed a popcorn snack at the movies or at home on a Sunday night. This time we're going to see corn hop, not pop. To do this experiment, we need water. I'm going to fill my container about half full. Oh, that looks perfect. Then to that, we are going to add some food coloring. How about yellow? Doesn't that remind you of great buttered popcorn? Super. And now we're going to add 2 tablespoons of baking soda. I made sure to buy a fresh box, so it would be perfect for this experiment. Now we're going to add a few kernels of popcorn. Let's say about a tablespoon's worth. There they go. Anything happening yet? I don't think so. We need a catalyst. Let's use vinegar. Vinegar is citric acid. We're going to use 1/4 cup of vinegar. Woo! I love the bubbles! Now let's see what happens to make our corn hop. Oh, some of our corn is already floating. Oh, I hope you can see through the camera that our corn is rising to the top and it pops and it's going back to the bottom again. This will continue for about an hour. That is because we have carbon dioxide made from using the vinegar and the baking soda. What a cool experiment to do with your kids at home. Watch corn hop. Today we're going to find out what effect does vinegar or an acid have on an eggshell. Our eggs have been soaking for 4 days. 1 egg in vinegar, 1 egg in water. Which is which? Let's find out. We'll open the first container, pour out the water, and lo and behold, I have an egg. Can you hear it tap? That egg hasn't changed. That must have been our water. Let's see what this one did. Open the jar. Ooh, it's all fuzzy in there. Pour it out and, oh my gosh, look at that! We have no shell. We've made a rubber egg. Isn't that exciting? Okay, if you look really close, you can even see the yolk through the membrane. What happens is the vinegar acts as an acid on the calcium carbonate, which is what makes the eggshell. I like to tell children, this is what happens when you don't brush your teeth. If you drink a lot of sodas and the acid in the sodas, the carbonation, will eat away the calcium of your teeth. Be pretty hard to eat a nice steak or a raw carrot or a juicy red apple with teeth that go squish. I can bounce this egg, but for the sake of making a mess, I will refrain from doing that because it could break, but it could bounce. What do you say? Shall we try anyway? Let's do it. Oh my gosh, if you did that with a real egg, with the shell intact, it wouldn't do that at all. So, remember children, brush your teeth, or these will be your teeth in the future. Uh-oh, I've done it again. I boiled eggs, stuck them in the refrigerator, and they got mixed up with the regular, non-cooked raw eggs. I don't know how to tell the difference. Do you? Well, I have a secret to show you which eggs are raw and which eggs are boiled. Let's try it. We're going to spin the egg. Ooh, that one doesn't spin very good. You know why? That's a raw egg. Because the contents of this egg inside is not solid, it will not allow the egg to spin. Let's try this one. Wow! Look at that egg go! This for sure must be a hard-boiled egg. The solid contents inside will allow that egg to spin for a very long time. Let's try this one. Not a spinner, it's a raw one. Scrambled eggs for breakfast for sure. Okay, last egg, let's try. Wow, another spinner! This is great! I know that this can go on top of Mark's salad for lunch. Now you know how to test raw eggs from hard-boiled eggs. I'm ready to bake in my kitchen today. I'm going to need some eggs. I probably am going to need several. So I'm going to get into the refrigerator, pick up my eggs, and Oh no! What a mess! Who hasn't done this at one time or another in their kitchen? Maybe it even rolled on the floor. Gosh, I hate cleaning this mess up. You just can't grab the egg. Oh my gosh, what a mess. I can tell you how to fix that problem in a hurry. Get some table salt. Pour table salt over your egg mess on the counter or on the floor. And just wait a second. The salt reacts with the egg and makes this egg perfectly able to be picked up. Yolk and all. Look at that. Plop, in the trash it goes, and all I have to do is clean up the little bit that's left behind. What a neat, clean way to get rid of a potential mess. Thanks for coming. I in one experiment earlier that eggs do break. Well, I'm going to try to break this one with my bare hands. Take your egg, place it between your palms, and squeeze as hard as you can. Oh, wait a minute. We have the advantage of a sink. Let's use it. Oh my gosh! Why won't that egg break? Oh! Well, it just won't. Now, if I squeezed it side to side, in a heartbeat this egg would break. But from end to end, the dome structure of the egg allows it to be super strong. This is a great experiment to do with your mom and dad, but make sure they do it over the kitchen sink just in case, because if your egg has a crack, it will break. This is why they build super domes and football stadiums with a dome. It allows the weight of the ice and the snow not to impact the roof of the building. Let's do another experiment that shows how strong eggs are. The strength of our eggs. 6-pound book, 4 eggs. Voila! Let's make it 12 pounds. Success again! Should we try 18? Still no cracks. Here comes 24. That is great! Now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We add a 5th. 5 times 6 is 30 for all you mathematicians. 30 pounds. Still no cracks. Let's go again. 30. Oh, 36 pounds and we're out. But 36 pounds is what that egg was able to withstand from weight. Thanks for playing along. All right, have you ever thought to yourself, gee, I wish I could get an egg in a bottle? Well, maybe not, but I'm going to show you how it's done. We have an empty bottle, and we have a hard-boiled, peeled egg. Ugh, gosh, it's just not going to fit. Well, I think I have a way to do this. Being married to a volunteer firefighter for 27 years has given me some insight about fire and what it needs to breathe. Just like we do, it needs air. We're going to light these candles. If you are under the age of 12, you should never use a lighter. Remember that, children. All right, we've got them burning brightly. We're going to take our bottle, put it over the candles, and watch what happens. Look at that. It sucked the yolk right out of the egg. That's because a fire needs oxygen to breathe. And when the fire took all the oxygen out of the bottle, then it reached for more oxygen, which was outside the bottle. Okay, today we are going to do an experiment with milk. You're going to have to trust me. This is whole milk with a red lid. This is 2% milk with a white lid. 2 plates, a bottle of dish detergent, and some food coloring. That's all we need to get this project started. We're going to put some whole milk in the plate on my left. Just enough to cover the bottom ought to do it. Now we are going to put 3 drops of food coloring in. Excuse me a moment. I think we'll use 3 different colors for this experiment. How about red, green, and blue? Okay, just a drop. 1, 2, and 3. Now, we are going to use dish detergent and my handy dandy little stopper. We'll suck some of that up. And now we're going to put soap on top of the food coloring. We only added the food coloring so you could see what we were doing today. Milk is made of protein, minerals, and fat. Wow! Can you appreciate the sight of that milk swirling around? That's because the dish detergent is attracting the fat molecules. And so it gathers the fat molecules out and then it disperses them. And you have a tie-dye milk experiment. Now, that was whole milk. Let's see what happens with our 2% milk. 2% milk just means it has 2% milk fat. You can also do this experiment with skim milk, half and half, or heavy whipping cream. All right, 3 dots. Oops, different colors. I almost made a mistake. There we go. And our handy dandy little dropper. Woo! Look at that milk go. But as you can see, it doesn't go as far with the colors as does the whole milk. That's because there's more fat in the whole milk. Let's try that experiment again. Let's just add more food coloring. We'll mix it up so the colors aren't in the same place to see if there's any fat molecules left. Here we go. Nope, it looks like all of our fat molecules were displaced in the very first dropper with soap. We can try this one again. It's maybe getting a little bit bigger. We'll try it one more time to see if there's any fat molecules left. And a drop of soap. Whoop, we're all out. Not much happening there. That's how we tell the difference between whole milk and 2% milk. I hope you've had fun with our experiment today.